Oh man, I am really excited to talk about this subject with you guys today. I've sat on it for a couple of days. Mioni released a fantastic video talking about kind of the state of the trust system, his thoughts on it, and I watched it and I loved every second of it. I'll include a link to that video if you haven't seen it already in the description of this video below. But I really wanted to share my thoughts because his video came right. It was almost perfect timing in regards to a conversation we've been having in Discord, and it's the state of the trust system. We're coming up on a year with Shadowbringers, which introduced the trust system. We got to go hands-on with it with a media tour, and then it was since released, and they've continued to expand on it with new dungeons as each patch has arisen. And because of said system, there's obviously been, a couple changes. We're not seeing like the deep dungeon. We're not seeing multiple dungeons per patch because they are integrated into the story, which I actually really enjoy a lot more. But it's almost been a year, and my critique of the system is the same critique that I had of it when I first went hands-on with it. Obviously, we asked the question, will we be able to take trust out into the open world? And the answer for that was no, and I don't expect that to happen anytime soon. But really where I want to go with it is that I think the trust system brought a lot of options to players, but it brings it in so late in the game. I'm going to be surprised if we never see the trust system kind of trickle back into the previous content. It's kind of interesting though, because at its core, the trust system is the evolution of your Chocobo system, and then your Squadron system, and then finally the trust system brought into Shadowbringers. And this is kind of where the core issue that I have with it, and it's not a negative thing, it's just when I look at it, I go, if they only did X, then I think it would be almost a perfect system. And what I mean by that is that the weakness of the trust system itself comes into play. It's that it's either or. I can either play with my friends or strangers, or I can play with my trusts. And if you look at like just two games, for example, Final Fantasy XI and Phantasy Star Online 2, both have their own version of the trust system. In Final Fantasy XI, you could mix and match. You can bring in real people. You can also have your trust system and your trust NPCs with you. In Phantasy Star Online 2, you can mix and match. You can bring in, if you only have 2 people you're playing with, 3 people you're playing with, you can always fill in that last slot. And there's an advantage. There's a value there. It's not as good as a value as a human player, but it still adds a value, to your party itself. And then you look at Final Fantasy XIV, in which it's either or. I think the trust system at its core would benefit greatly, if they brought in the option to mix and match. If, let's say, I was playing and we were playing together, it's just the 2 of us, we have the freedom and the option and the choice to say, do we want to party with strangers, or do we want to party with our trusts? And maybe I bring one and you bring one, so that each of them are getting experience and leveling up and more. Obviously, that's going to change the speed and the flow. Obviously, that's going to change the scripting. And I would be very clear, I don't expect them to make this change with any haste, or because it's not a critical change. Like at the end of the day, like this is such a, I think, a kind of a smaller piece of it, but I think it would speak more to the value of the trust system, because, and this is just maybe from like my conversations with different people in the community on different videos, everybody can have a kind of a different experience with the community itself. With the changes they've made to how we communicate in game, there has been, at least in the comments, a trend of kind of a negative attitude and a unforgiving attitude to new players. Like, you need to know the content, let's go. And they're not really talking, or they're teaching for fear of being banned. So it ends up being a lot of like kicking and dropping, the party itself kind of taking the 30-minute penalty and not dealing with the potential for, a GM to get involved with that. And so obviously that's, I don't have real data on that, but I think when you look at it, when you look at the trust system later, when you look at kind of that piece of the community, there are some natural concerns that I have for the lack of mix and match. It's like all or nothing. I either need to party with randoms, and I've seen a couple comments even just this week talking about still people have healing anxiety and tank anxiety when playing the game because of the worry that they're going to not perform as well as they should. And that's where when I again come back to the trust system, it's like would I rather this is a great question for you guys as well. Let me know in the comments below. Would I rather have them bring the trust system to Stormblood, to Heaven's Word, to ARR, or would I rather have it become a mix and match kind of system from Shadowbringers and on? And if I'm honest, I would say if I could only choose one, I think for the health of the game and its long term from a new player perspective, oh gosh, I think the health of the game would be better served if it was a mix and match. And the reason is that if you and I are friends and we're looking at playing this game, which you should if you haven't. If for some reason you're still watching this video and you're not checking out the free trial, you haven't played this game, and this is the video you're like, I want to see what this guy says about Final Fantasy XIV and if I should play it. Having the ability for like you and your friend to be able to team up, just the two of you, and bring in your trust NPCs, I think that would be a better value to you and serve as a better level of enjoyment, because and to bring it all around, to bring it back 180 degrees, to kind of turn around and come back to what I was saying, or 360. I don't know. It's too early. To bring it all kind of around in full circle is that even if like negative experiences within the community are 1 in a billion, like they're so rare, they're still like, let's say they're still rare. We've grown a lot, so there's definitely growing pains as the community grows and kind of learns just how to grow and handle being more mainstream. But even with that, those negative interactions are going to register with us far greater than any other. Like we're going to remember that negative interaction for years, if not longer, where we're going to have like hundreds of thousands of positive or just fine interactions. And those who go, like that's the norm, but it's those negative interactions that are going to just hammer home. They're going to sit with us. They're going to sour us, and then they're going to maybe even like pertain to that. So removing that risk to bring in people to hopefully like to team up and then maybe invite their friends, you can end up having a little bit stronger communities. Now again, like if you guys aren't aware, like 11 does this, PSO2 does this, and they both do it, I think, really, really well. Playing Final Fantasy 11, with the trust system is great because in my mind, it always served as a way of removing downtime. It's a matter of if you're running late or if you're having to travel or, like to the where we're at the game, if there is essentially like, well, instead of sitting around doing nothing, we can call out a trust, we can get some things done, and then we can kick out an NPC at any point. Their feelings aren't going to be hurt. If me and you are teamed up, we're brand new to the game, or we're just gotten into Shadowbringers and we're playing together, we're having a good time, and then all of a sudden, hey, like we just met a new friend, let's bring him along, and then it gives the service the ability to kind of have that, as opposed to the RNG-ness of the way that dungeons are designed currently. Anyway, overall, I think the trust system has been positive. I think it's interesting that we have it as leveling content. Obviously, when you see it from a speed perspective, you have that choice right now as a player. I think that's where I fall at the end of the day. And then I give the question to you guys. What would you want? Like if you could only pick one, would you want it in the earlier content? Would you want it as a mix and match kind of system? Or, I mean, hell, throw this all out and then just share your thoughts about the trust system in general. Like what would you change to the system? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? I think it's a really smart system. I like the characterization. I like how, and I liked it from the beginning. I just was always like, can I team up with a friend and then we run it with trusts? Can we do that and have that banter? And that's the one thing. I think that's one of the things that holds it back from truly being a kind of just a revolutionary system in and of itself. But those are just my thoughts. As always, I'd love to know yours. I'm looking forward to seeing what you think, what you say in the comments below. But for Work to Game, my name's Brian. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys have an incredible day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. What are you guys still doing here? I know I haven't done a personalized end screen in a while, but thanks for watching this video. So yeah, let's reveal the secrets of the site. Guys, did you know? All right, it's gonna blow your mind. Just wait, just hold on. Get ready.